How are the injuries? How are the team? Everybody okay?
Good. Stephen Defoe, just to tidy up, because we've been, waiting to find out. He's had an operation on his calf. I don't know all of the medical terminology, but basically to release the calf muscle that's too tight in its sheath sort of thing. So they have to release it. He's had it done before many years ago. It's similar but different this time. There's a bit of scar tissue in his calf and stuff like that. So the surgeon who he has used before, excuse me, did that, and Ali Beatty, our head of medical, went over and saw all that. So he's recovering now. We're very confident that will clear the problem, but obviously it's unlikely he's going to get back before the end of the season now, which is a bit of a blow. Aaron Lennon is getting fitter, but obviously still not right yet, but he's on the grass more regularly. They're the two main long situations. And it's good to have the likes of Robbie and Johan playing, and they got a full game in the week in a reserve game, so they're getting fitter and stronger all the time.
Must have been so frustrating because he's hardly played this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a lot of ups and downs. He had the knee last year, very unfortunate. He was going so well last year and had a knee situation that was dealt with, and he's actually been pretty clear with that. And then the knock-on effect has just had these little injuries that sometimes happen. And he and we have tried to go against that. But the calf situation was one too many. It had really small niggly injuries, but the specialist felt it was best to deal with the longer term view of it. And that's why he's had to have this operation, albeit I think it's a simple operation in its form, but it still needs doing correctly, etc., etc.
So,
excuse me.
Off to Anfield this Sunday. How much do you look forward to a game like that?
Well, it's tough in a way. You look forward to, I was a Liverpool fan as a kid. You look forward to the fact that you're now managing in the Premier League, and on an individual basis, that is. And it's a fantastic, historic place to be, and all the rest of it. And they're going fantastically well, top side and all that. But really, the job to do, for me as a manager and for the team, and that's to deliver a performance that can get something. It's not easy. They've lost one game this season in the league with good reason, because they're such a strong side and a strong squad. But on the other hand, we've down the years, we've had some big results and important results. We had one recently against a fine side in Tottenham, a good point down at Old Trafford. So we've got to take the belief that we've shown in them games into this game. But they are a top side, without doubt.
Potentially, they could be 4 points adrift by Sunday lunchtime if City win Saturday night. So you can imagine Anfield maybe being a bit edgy, a bit nervous. Is that something for you to take advantage of? Well,
I wish it was as easy as just taking advantage of that. I don't think it is. I think, top players become top players for dealing with all that comes with football. And they've certainly got a squad, not just any individuals. There's obvious individuals who have made big names for themselves over the last season or so. But I think they've got a very, very good squad, a very strong squad. Like I say, on the other hand, if anything does feel like that, then hopefully it will help, because our focus is on ourselves, quite obviously. It's kind of different with these games. The players, all our players, will be well aware of the varying quality players they've got and the shape and all of that sort of stuff, because obviously these teams are well covered all of the time. And like I say, all them little things, I've said many times, when you play the big guns, you need everything to go in your way. You need to play well. That's the first thing that we hope to control. We need to play well. You might get a decision, you might get a feeling, as you suggest, but they're all ifs, buts and maybes. The thing that we try and focus on is our performance. And I think we've done that. We've tried to do it all season, but I think we've done it more clear-mindedly since Christmas on a good run that we've had.
When you're playing a team that are obviously title contenders, does everybody in your team have to be at least an 8 out of 10 on the day?
Well, like I say, there's no mark in it. It's just to give a good performance, and you certainly have to be at the better end of your game as an individual and as a collective, because of their power, their power, not in the sense of just physical power, but their threat. They've got players all over the place who are real dynamic and can score goals, and they've been defensively very, very strong. So they've got a very healthy mixture. No surprise with that healthy mixture that they are doing what they're doing, and within reasonable doubt, it's kind of them two now out there. Tottenham had a tough time recently, but I still think they're a top side. I think the top six will be in the top six this season. I mentioned very early in the season I thought that would be the case, and I think they've shown that. But Liverpool and Man City, both fighting it out, both got a strong chance of winning the title. Fantastic for everyone else to look at, but for us, purely about us going on there and taking on the game. That's our jobs, as well as the challenge that we want to, go and take on.
They were frustrated last weekend by Everton, and the weather seemed to be a little bit of an issue. Strong winds and hail forecast for Sunday.
Well, I know you're mocking certain situations, but every manager has a view. It's simple as that. I'm certainly not going to question any manager's view. I know how tough it is. I don't think that they'll be too worried about the weather. I think they'll be getting on with the game and trying to win a game, as we were.
Same for both sides, isn't it, though? Same for both sides, whatever the weather. You've got to adapt.
It is, but you've got to give a view. You ask enough questions for us to answer enough times. So people give a view on whatever situation they're asked about.
What about the lingering effects maybe of what happened in December at Turf Moor? There are a lot of words said after that game, and your tackling in particular was questioned, I think. I mean, I can't imagine for 1 minute you'll change your approach at the weekend.
No, I don't think there was anything other than an opinion. We've just discussed, different kind of opinion. You get asked so many questions, you have to give an opinion. All managers have their view of the game. Sometimes, you think you've seen things that you haven't. Sometimes you've seen it, and it is. But that's each individual. Everyone has a varying view of things. All I know is they've moved on, we've moved on. The facts are the facts. They're a very, very strong side. They were strong on that occasion. They beat us fair and square. We've got to take on this game for our needs. We've got a challenge as well. Obviously, the main news is about Liverpool, and rightly so. They're trying to win the title, etc., etc. Sit in the Champions League as well, of course. We have to try and make the story about us on this occasion, and that story just being continuing to get points on the table. There's no special story. It's just, can we get another point? Can we get a win? They're the challenges. Very tough challenge that is, but our job is to see if we can take on mighty powers like Liverpool at their place and get a result.
And I'm guessing, I think, if in December when you were struggling near the bottom of the league with 12 points, if I'd have said early March you'd have been on 30 with that survival finishing line in sight, you'd have snapped my hand off, wouldn't you?
Well, I certainly think you would have, at that time, not inside of our camp, but outside, people would have been scratching their heads going, I'm not sure. And I mentioned that last week. We had two tough results for different reasons. We didn't perform as well at Newcastle. I thought we did actually perform against Palace, and statistically one of our strongest performances of the season, but we didn't get a result. If you add that into the run of 10, then it's fair to say 18-point return in 10 Premier League games for a side like ourselves and probably anyone else outside of the top 6 is a very, very healthy return. We know there's more work to be done. We know we've got to continue performing to get the right side of it. As simple as that. The margins are tight, and like I say, they're different games against the superpowers, different kind of games, but we've got games other than this one that have got to be focused upon as well. But our focus remains on this one because, it's important to do that. We have to remain focused because we're playing a top side.
And will you feel a little bit more relaxed, say, when you get to the 36, 37, 38-point mark? Is that what makes
you... Never relax in the Premier League until the job's done. Never relaxing. I've always said that the measure is when that final whistle goes at the final game of the season. That's the real measure. That's when we all know where it stands. That's not the focus for now. The focus is the next game. But the bigger picture is that scenario. Where are you then? That's when it really counts. But like I said, real big challenge. Playing a top side at the weekend, a side that I believe can win the title. Doesn't make it easy because Man City are right there and we know all their strengths and we know all the power they've got. But Liverpool are definitely in that. Our job is to take them on.
And as a Liverpool fan, as you referred to right at the start, as a Liverpool fan a long time ago.
Not that long ago. Longish ago.
Yeah, a while. How good would it be, in your opinion, if they were to beat City?
An Australian mammal a while ago.
When you were a youngster, you were a Liverpool fan, so how good would it be if they were to go on and win the title, in your opinion?
Yeah, I was a 70s child, by the way, so a lot of people were Liverpool fans. I was from Kettering. I couldn't get up there all the time. I was a distant Liverpool fan, but Liverpool fan nonetheless. I will tell you a true story, though. I did meet the now Sir Kenny a couple of seasons ago, and I was absolutely, that's a big moment, because as a child, you don't forget these people. Just because you're older now and you're in the same profession and all that, you don't forget these people. I was so pleased to meet him. I was at a game there.
You'd never met him before?
Pardon?
You'd never met him before?
Nope. I'd met him he once said hello. We were at a game I was scouting at Preston when I first came up here, but I actually met him as in to have a chat with him. And, it's strange because, you meet these people when you're a kid and you're looking at, King Kenny doing his stuff and you're just like... And then you meet them and they're chatting to you normally about football. That's still quite surreal in my life, and I think that was quite a big moment, actually. He doesn't know, well, he'll know now. And as you can imagine, fantastic fellow he is, just chatting away, as if just you would about football. But deep down, I'm remembering that little tiny ginger kid thinking, wow, it's King Kenny, you know what I mean? And watching him on TV and all that. So probably that's my memories of Liverpool more than travelling to games. And I once played there in front of the Kop for Phil Neal's testimonial. So a team who's from Manchester, a team from Northampton, we went up. We had a little 15-minute each way game there. So it's my little mini old-fashioned claim to fame about Liverpool.
But how good would it be, in your opinion, if they were to go on and win the league this season? Then?
Well, I think that was many moons ago. I think the challenge is out there for both of them. I think, and like I say, the others have got an outside chance now, but I think the power of these two clubs, I think it's unlikely that the others catch them now. That being mainly Tottenham, of course. Fantastic side they are. But I think it's a big ask to catch that many points now. The two of them slugging it out, it's going to be so tight. Irrelevant what I think it's going to be really, really tight.
Thank you.
Kenny Dalglish tells a story about meeting you, by the way.
If he did, I'd be highly surprised if he did. But nonetheless, he'll now know that it was a big moment in my life, that's for sure. As a lot of them players.
And his.
As a lot of them players.
Just a couple, if I may. Where did Stephen have his operation? You said he
in Belgium, with a specialist. Yeah, with a specialist he's had an operation with before. So he knows about Stephen's history and his body.
And I know that when you were a kid, you were a Liverpool fan. Is there still a little bit of you that...
Yeah, I think an underlying bit. I think that what it changes, to give you a view of it, is when I went away and you moved to Forest as a young professional, it changed your view, really. I think if it's inbuilt in you, I remember playing with Stuart Nethercott and, him sitting on the end of the bed screaming at a TV like a fan would about a game, and I was thinking, I don't get that, because I used to support Kettering Town as in literal support, because I lived in Kettering, so we used to me and my dad used to go and watch Kettering Town, then, good non-league side. So it was more of a distant support. So, I think there's a tiny bit of me, but the point is, when I moved to Forest, you become a professional and it changes your view, unless you've got that deep-seated from a child, watching the games, going to the stadiums and all that. I think that locks it in more clearly.
And we keep hearing about pressure and nerves and everything that may or may not be affecting them. They've not conceded in 5 matches now, and yet Jurgen Klopp's never kept a clean sheet against Burnley.
Okay, that's good. We want that to continue. It gives you a chance if you score. I don't think you can read too much into it. I know, people have said to me they've got a big game next week, but they're big players at big clubs. In theory, obviously there is some complication to it, but generally they're there for a reason, and that's because they take on the challenges, whatever challenges they come in. And players actually want them challenges as much as it's, the challenge of top level football. I mean, sorry, not top level, like the elite end. The clubs who are challenging for all these different trophies. But that's part of the, I talk about growth in our players, that's part of their growth, is understanding that. And they'll have players there, without doubt, at Liverpool, have been down this road, been down this feeling of what it is, going down what everyone tags the business end of the season, trying to look for trophies. So I don't think there's much in it. I think the margins are tight, even at that level. Sometimes they need the bounce of the ball the right way. All I can focus on is us. Everyone's obviously talking about us playing Liverpool, but really about Liverpool. We have to remain focused on us. Our job is to affect us. It's nothing about us worrying about who wins what. It's to us to try and get points on the board. That's our challenge. We remain focused on that. That's the biggest challenge of all, because there is a lot of noise about Liverpool whenever you play them, and Man City because of the obvious reason. But it's still to keep the focus on us and our performance. That's what we have to do.
And have we all moved on from the little Burnley going to big Liverpool?
No, I think that's always been a case purely because there are some facts to it. I don't think that's changed radically. I think we've managed to at least be recognised in the Premier League as a club that are in the Premier League, but it's not about that. I think there's good reason sometimes. The top 6 this year, not just Liverpool, the top 6, really powerful. A big gap, I think, from where they are to where the rest of the teams are. Some are bridging that gap more closely. Watford having a great season, for example. But I still think a lot of them clubs, they don't mean any. There's no angle to little old Burnley. It's just the facts. The facts are Liverpool are an absolutely superpowered club. We're not. We've got to still punch above our weight at times. Still work with the group. We've got to still add to it when we can. It's a different kind of challenge. But no, I don't think there's never any, people patting us on the head. I think they just take us seriously, like you have to in the Premier League, because we all know if you don't take teams seriously in the Premier League, you don't take care of yourself. So we certainly have to continue doing what we're doing without worrying about what others think.
And just finally, if I may, obviously Peter Crouch going back to a club that I know he really enjoyed being at as well. And I appreciate that Barnesy and Woody are doing really well up front. Is he going overboard? Not overboard. Is he trying to go out of his way to impress you? I know that when you had the bounce game during the week, he had a decent game, didn't he? Is he doing all the right things?
I think what he's doing is what he offers, and that is a real good professional. Great lad, no two ways about that. Just as a bloke, by the way, and as a professional. And trying to affect games, trying to affect the group in a positive manner, trying to affect games in a positive manner. I've been impressed when he's come on because he's had that. I spoke about him today, actually, with him. That little edge you need, you know, and I think he's come on and affected games with that edge to actually affect a game. It can be hard for centre forward sometimes. You know, if you don't come on in the right frame of mind, it can drift a little bit because you've only got maybe 20 minutes to affect a game or whatever minutes you've got. He's come on with that real edge to actually go and grip the game, and that's a really important factor. And that's arguably given him the career he's not only had but he continues to have. That's a big part of why we brought him in. I think he's got the fire in himself to go and keep with that edge and keep delivering, and he's certainly looking to do it. I mean, very fit fella, cruised through the game physically the other day, and he does ask a lot of questions of defenders, and he was very good the other day. And a number of players I thought come through it very well the other day.
And has he still got enough in his locker to maybe be more than just coming off the bench?
We'll see. He's certainly got no problem physically. Like I say, although it was a reserve game the other day, I can't remember his stats, but they're pretty high. Knocked out 10-ish K, 10.5K. He does that regularly in training, not 10K, but high level stats. I mean, he certainly looks at. I mean, he's got a weight problem, as you know. He really carries a lot of weight, which he takes a little bit of heat about. But probably better to be that way at 38 and be a professional footballer than the other way, of course. But no, he's doing really well for us at the moment, and long may that continue. We want him to keep affecting it. Fidge has come on and looked quite lively in a couple of games as well. He got a couple the other day, so he's still learning about what it is here and what it is in the Premier League. But I think the four of them are a good group of centre forwards there.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Sure. Sorry, you mentioned him before. Stephen Ward. I know he didn't make the squad.
No, Wardy's fitting well. He played in the week. At the moment, we're just getting back to a situation where someone will miss out just by the nature of having bodies fit. It's been a strange season when we've actually had not enough bodies at times, and some of the kids coming in, which is good in a way. Obviously, it gives them a feel of first team football and first team life. So we're just getting back to a situation where there will be people miss out. That's just the way it goes. But he's a fantastic professional, Wardy. He'll be ready when and if he's needed.
Thanks, Phil. Cameras off then, please.
Yes. Tom, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Anfield at the weekend. How much do you look forward to playing at a venue like that?
Yeah, obviously steeped in history, massive football club. You enjoy every Premier League match, enjoy every football match, to be honest. But I think on a personal note, having had the injury, come back, didn't play, I think there's certainly appreciation there. So yeah, always a special one going to somewhere like that.
They say grounds like that either inspire or intimidate. How do you find Anfield?
I think I try not to be intimidated anywhere, to be honest. Certainly try and embrace the challenge wherever we are. Certainly want to enjoy it, and I'm hoping Anfield will be no different this weekend.
What do you expect in terms of Liverpool? Because they could be 4 points adrift by the time you kick off, so the pressure will be on them. Do you expect them to come out all guns blazing?
I would imagine so. They're a top side with top individuals. The statistics and the records this season speak for themselves. Up there fighting for the title. We'll obviously have a healthy respect for them. We know what they're about. But as ever, the focus for us will be on what we do, how we go about it, and try and embrace that challenge. We know it's going to be tough, but it's one we want to meet head on, and look to go and put performance that can get us a result. As
a goalkeeper, how much homework do you do before a game like Liverpool, when you look especially at their front three? Yeah, obviously, we know the quality we've got. In terms of how I look at that, I try not to delve too deep into the individuals. I'm obviously aware of certain traits, but I think at this level you've got to be very careful with that. If you stand there and you're expecting Salah to hit it to the right and he whips it back left, you've got a problem. You don't really want that seed planted. You want to be there, present in the moment, reactive to what's coming. And I think the quality we're talking about, they can tend to put it anywhere. I think for me it's more important to be present in the moment with a clear mind and the freedom to get after wherever it goes. And is there a sense amongst the squad that you're edging very close to that survival line now? Yeah, we're trying not to look at it too much in the bigger picture at the moment. It's something the manager talks about a lot, that one game at a time mentality. That's not gone away from us. We know it's going to be a tough game just based on how they've been this season. But as I say, we're just looking at racking points up on the board, moving up the table. We're obviously we're on a good spell of
results over the last sort of 8 to 10 games, and we want to move that forward. So I think we just look at that, focus on what's right in front of us. That's Liverpool at the weekend, and hopefully come away with something.
And is there a little part of you thinking, if I have a really good game Sunday, if I happen to be really busy, then come that squad announcement on Wednesday, I might just have a chance?
No, there'll be no forecasting from me. I think, of course, I'm looking to go in there and put in a performance. I try and do that every week. There's never any guarantees with football. The only guarantee I can really give you in terms of that is that I'll enjoy the game no matter what happens, and try and give everything I've got. After that game, we'll see what happens. Obviously, I know the announcement for the England squad's Wednesday. That's out of my hands. I've obviously got a massive ambition to be involved in it, but we'll see what happens.
How does it work? In the build-up to an international call-up, would you expect a text? Would you expect a phone call? Either way? Yeah,
just some form of, when I was last involved, some form of notification, I think, prior to the announcement. Sometimes, I think previously, I'm trying to remember, I think sometimes been the day before, sometimes, in the morning if it gets announced in the afternoon. I'll probably be loitering around by the phone, hopefully, come Tuesday.
What would it mean to be back in that England squad?
Yeah, if selected, it'd be incredible. I've obviously had a nasty injury quite a while ago now, because I've been fit for a while. But then obviously getting back fit, and then not getting in the team, which was frustrating. So it'll be a nice marker for me, but it's not sort of the end of the line by any stretch. I certainly feel like I've got a lot more to give, and hopefully the first step on another journey.
Can I just ask you, completely aside from Liverpool and England, just looking at us doing a special programme about Turf Moor next week, can I just ask you, Turf Moor is a home venue. What is it like to play in front of a full house at Turf Moor?
Yeah, brilliant actually. I think it's a real tough place for people to come. You've got obviously the home support, which are incredibly passionate, get behind the team, very, very supportive as well. That's been a big feature for me over the last few years. Having been here, even when things aren't going so well, they back the team. There's not so much negativity flying around. That counts for a lot. And I think they've really seen the journey that the club have been on and got behind it. So it's a real good atmosphere. As I say, tough for people to come. The weather can sometimes be difficult for people. With a bit of wind coming across the pitch, that's also a factor. So yeah, it's a brilliant place to play games in the Premier League. As I say, I can't imagine there's many people that enjoy coming there. They know they're in for a tough day out.
Thank you.
Tom, does any part of the former Manchester United player in you want to be part of stopping Liverpool winning the Premier League trophy?
Yeah, difficult question that, to be honest. No, and for the simple reason is, for me, it's I'm playing for Burnley on Sunday. And it's about the performance that I put in. So there's never any story to go alongside it. I think you've got to be very careful with things like that. It can often serve as a distraction. I know obviously the wider audience will be looking at stuff like that. They're obviously pushing for the title. But for us and for me, this game is about us getting points on the board, and go try and perform to help that result. And things like that, as I say, can sometimes serve as a distraction. So I think it's important that I focus on the job in hand, and then stuff like that becomes a feature after the game. And
in terms of, I know everybody wants silverware, and I appreciate you won the championship with Burnley, but they stopped you winning the League Cup title as well, albeit that you almost stopped them in the penalties and stuff as well. How do you feel about that, looking back on it now?
Pretty positive actually, albeit we didn't win it. We went close to win it on penalties, of course, with Cardiff. It was a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it, actually playing at Wembley in front of 90,000. The final went very close to taking it, but unfortunately, we succumbed in the end in the penalty shootout. But I have real fond memories of it, to be honest. It was a big moment for me. It was the biggest stage I'd played on, the biggest game for me, and at that point, no previous evidence that you can do it at that level against that sort of opposition, and I felt good that day. So it was a real marker for my own career, my own journey. So as I say, a real positive outlook. But I hold no negativity towards Liverpool for winning it.
Because you were the cup keeper, weren't you, that season? Yeah,
it was a strange one actually. Yeah, I was very very thankful for Malky Mackay keeping me in the team. Actually, obviously you get to a final. David Marshall was playing in the league. Which and was playing well, but he kept me in all the way through, which, as I say, I was very grateful for.